Hi.
Welcome to Adobe Live. I am Ellie and I am here with Arabella.
Hello, hello.
Hello, we are Weekend Creative and we are so excited to hang out with you guys today. Thank you for joining us wherever you guys are watching. We are so excited to have you here. We would love if you guys want to say hello in the chat. Let us know where you guys are watching from. Looks like we already have some people joining. We have Wade and Jack and Robert, General Kenobi. We got Paco. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please feel free to ask questions throughout the stream. We would love to be able to answer as many questions as possible and just have a really great fun time with you guys. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our new Adobe Live channel on YouTube. That's how you can stay up to date with all of the latest streams and you can participate with the community. And then I also want to remind you guys that you can start your day with the Photoshop Creative Challenges hosted by Sam Peterson every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. So tune into those and challenge yourself with a new prompt every day, which is so fun. And actually, it's every weekday, not every Wednesday. So you can definitely join that. And that's a great way to learn and just improve all of your Photoshop skills.
Yeah, I love that Adobe Live offers so many different things for you to like partake in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a great resource. So make sure to check that out. And we are going to jump right in. Arabella, do you want to just give a little overview of who we are very briefly and then talk about what you're going to be working on today?
Yes, definitely. So I do want to mention I'm feeling a little under the weather. So if I'm talking a little bit more slowly than usual, that's why. I had like a sore throat for the last 2 days, but I'm feeling a lot better today. So that's good.
You're powering through.
Powering through. I can actually talk today, which is great. But yeah, so we obviously, it's Day of the Dead. I don't know about you guys. Does anybody celebrate Day of the Dead?
Yes.
At home. I know I do. I have my little ofrenda, like my altar with, all of our dearly departed ones. And so let us know in the chat if you celebrate Day of the Dead. But because of the theme and just Halloween was past Monday, we're like, let's just, dive into some of our Harry Potter cocktails that we had created for our podcast per our last email, which is a freelancing comedy podcast. And for the month of October, we thought it'd be fun to do a Harry Potter themed, like esque kind of drinks, and we photographed them and tried to make them as Harry Potter-ish as possible. So let us know if you like Harry Potter as well.
Yes.
I almost brought out my wand, but I couldn't find it.
That would have been perfect.
Like, maybe I'll be Hermione for this whole series. I won't even be Arabella.
So fun.
But anyway, so let me show you kind of like what we're looking at. And I am actually going to be editing. These images have already been edited previously, obviously for the podcast, but I'm going to re-edit them and see if I kind of come up with the same thing or if I, edit them in a different way. Yeah. But for the most part, here's our butterbeer. Here's our polyjuice potion, our Reparo, Skelegro, and the Leaky Cauldron. So super fun little cocktails that we have, and something that I'm going to be showing you as well. So I'm going to be editing these stills, but at the same time, I'm going to show you how we can take a still and then animate part of it, even though we never meant it to be an animation. But it's always fun to add a little bit of a cool effect. So
a little bit of magic.
A little bit of magic, just a little, a little touch, a little tap. Sorry. So let's just get right into it. So I'm going to be using a combination of both Lightroom and Photoshop. So fun. Actually, last night I noticed that the Lightroom and Photoshop updated. So I got the new 2023, which is so exciting. I know.
I can't believe it's almost 2023. That's crazy.
You guys, what is what is happening? But yeah, so I'll be going through kind of Lightroom, Classic, which is what I love to use to start with, and then going to Photoshop, maybe going back to Lightroom and doing that sort of thing. So if you have any questions along the way, please let us know. We'll be happy to answer them. And then also let us know what you dressed up for Halloween this year.
Yes.
I dressed up as Eddie Munson from Stranger Things.
Yes. I dressed up as 11, but the 11 when she goes to the mall and she's in the little 80s romper.
Yes. Oh my God. That scene was so cute.
Yeah. I hosted a Stranger Things themed party. So we got to all dress up.
So fun.
Stranger Things, which is awesome. Carol's like, how spooky is this stream going to be? So it's going to be a little spooky, but it's not scary.
Spooky, you know,
Not
a little
scary.
magical, a little mythical.
A little magical. Umacorn says, feel better, Arabella.
Thank you.
And Oliver says, hello. Robert is watching from Sweden. That's
oh my gosh,
awesome.
that's amazing.
Yes. Yeah. Paco says, nice. The new masking features with Lightroom are nuts. We'll now do select, subject, and object. That's awesome.
Okay, that's cool. I know. I feel like I need to do like a deep dive into all of the new features.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what I love so much about Photoshop and Lightroom too. When like last night when I downloaded or updated it, like the first thing that came on was a little window that told me like what the new features are, which I like went through each one to see. Yeah, so it was like super awesome and I loved it. So anyway, so I just corrected, my color corrections and lens corrections as well, and I'm just gonna take this over to Photoshop. So this one we're just gonna be working on it as a still.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, see like how beautiful. I love when they update the
I know the new cover art. It's so fun.
Cute. I was working on something else during this time. So I'll go ahead and close those. Cool. So here we go. So let's just get right into it. I know, super moody. And I know I'm going to be working as a 4x5 here. So I'm just going to go right in and just crop it so that I don't need to do any excess like editing. Or I might, do a 1x1. That's fine too. But I think 4x5 is great. I love a good vertical shot. Mm-hmm. Something like this. This is already pretty like straight too. One thing that I like to do is have the rulers on. I think you can access it by just let me just cancel this for a second. If you just hit R on your keyboard, is it R? No. Now I'm messing up. Hold on. Rulers. I thought it was R, but maybe not. If anybody can tell me how to do
the shortcut
for the ruler, but I usually have it on all the time, and I usually like to drag for like all these like guides to help me just like make sure that everything.
The guides are so helpful.
They're so helpful, and especially like just to like make sure that my vertical and horizontal lines are good. I thought it was R, but now I'm like, maybe it's not.
I've never used that shortcut in Lightroom, or you're in Photoshop right now.
Now I'm in Photoshop. Yes.
I've never. Yeah, I've used it in Illustrator, but I don't know. Command R says
Command
Carol.
R. See, there you go. See, somebody's has their head right.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So Command R, super easy, and it's just one of those ways, like especially if you do have like a very specific image where there's a lot of like leading lines where you want to fix that. That's always like a really great resource right there. And then you can just move them as well by just going back to the move tool, and it pops up with that little tool right there, and you can just like move it out of the way, and that's it.
There you go.
But anyway, so 4x5 crop, just because I want to get right there, have it cropped, and I'm just gonna get right into it. And it's just gonna be like good old cleaning sesh. And I, obviously can do a number of different ways. In this case, like I might do a kind of filter dust and scratches layer. So let me see if I can. There we go. So what dust and scratches does is it literally removes dust and scratches. So I like to use these settings. These kind of like stay the same for me. The radius is at 11, threshold 4, and I'll always press OK. And I like to use layer mask so that I can make sure that I'm painting in only what I want to clean up. So I like to keep my brush pretty soft. So kind of like a, maybe a 50% opacity, because I can always like brush over to, and I need to make sure that I'm on white. There we go. So while making sure that the mask is selected, I'm just going to paint over kind of like all those dusts. All those little
helpful working with glass, especially because you can clean glass, but then dust just like is like a magnet almost to glass. So anything shiny just like attracts dust so much.
Exactly. There we go. So it's like a super easy way to just like get a nice little cleanup. But you want to make sure that like you use it sparingly, because if you start to go over spots where it doesn't like make sense, like it just starts to get looking weird. So you just want to be like mindful of that.
Yeah.
There we go. And that's too much. Maybe I'll just use the spot healing brush tool there. Too much there as well. Yeah, sometimes when there's too much detail, like it becomes a little too watered, too fuzzy. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But this is a great tool.
That detail.
Mm-hmm. For especially like, yeah, if you know there's gonna be like a lot of like little mess ups, then this is great. What's your guys' favorite like cleaning tool?
Ooh, yeah. Share your favorite cleaning tool. Drop that into the chat.
Honestly, like Photoshop is like a very like magical thing. Like I feel like it belongs in the wizarding world. Right? Like
yeah.
We're doing magic tricks in him on images.
Especially when you see the before and after.
Like
and then
Reparo,
you could be like, boo.
Yeah, literally Reparo is our control alt or our spot healing brush tool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. Like a wizard as you
learn
all the spells and then
you're a wizard, Harry.
Then you use them.
Exactly. I mean, like we're like it's like the Photoshop school is like our wizarding is our Hogwarts.
It's true. You can do so much.
I know. And it's only getting better too with all the new features. Like it's so impressive how everything gets updated, and yeah, it just becomes like so much easier to do the things that you need to do.
Yeah. Yes. All about saving time. General Kenobi says it's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
I love that scene.
So good. I know.
I actually just did a whole Harry Potter marathon, like of all the movies. And I'm rereading all the books too.
Yes. So yeah, I've been listening to the books. Carol says Adobe Cadabra works. That's good. And Sam says instead of the Adobe Evangelists, they should have the titles be Adobe Wizards from now on.
Honestly.
Because they are wizards.
Really?
They are wizards. They know so much.
Honestly. I love that.
Let's petition to get this changed.
Yes. I'm all about this.
Yes. Paco says Harry Potter marathons are the best thing about the holidays. Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. They fit so well with, like, I feel like from Halloween until Christmas, it just feels like it's Harry Potter season.
Honestly.
Because they're like kind of dark and spooky and they have some Halloween like parts, but like then they also have like Christmas scenes, and even like the like spring summer stuff is still dark and spooky, so it fits in the fall winter. Definitely.
Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, that's like it's something so simple and so like small and little. Also, the whole vibe of this cocktail is very like sultry, which like someone isn't gonna like zoom in and like notice all the specks, but I know that they're there, and so I'm gonna remove them. So what I'm going to do is I want to clean up a few other things, including some of the kind of like smudges on the like props here. I also don't like that this is like showing like the cream inside versus I like kind of more the dark moody. So I'm going to like kind of copy and like, transform that part so that I can fix that. But so in order to do that, I'm going to just kind of Command A to grab everything. I'm going to do a copy merged, and on Mac it's Command Shift C and then Command V. So that's kind of like that top layer, and I'm just going to put extra details. And now I'm going to go in with my spot healing brush tool. Love that thing. That's my my wand.
That's your wand, yeah.
Yes. I honestly, do you know what these are, Ellie? Like these things?
Are they cattails?
Are they?
I don't know.
Crookshanks?
I think they're called, but I could be wrong. We've had them just sitting in our office for forever. I don't know where we got them or what. I don't know how they just appeared one day.
They appeared just like magic.
I don't know. Did you bring them in one day?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Magic.
Honestly, a lot of props just kind of appear sometimes.
Yeah. Especially now
Like,
that
we
people
go through so
rent
much.
our studio too.
That's
like
true.
people leave things and we're like, where did this come from?
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Perfect. Not a whole lot, but just kind of wanted to fix some of these. The vases are a little wonky. And I mean, my favorite about this too. So I was using the spot healing brush tool, but now I'm using the patch tool. I kind of go back and forth.
Yeah.
But one of the other ways too that you could do, I mean, there's so many ways to like do anything really, but you can also use kind of the lasso tool. And if there's like a specific area, you can just like select it, right click, content aware fill. And this is a really cool like tool where like it just like tells you, okay, like here's where I'm gonna grab the information from. And I can like go in with my brush and decide like, okay, I maybe there's some parts that I don't want like Photoshop to like take information from.
Yeah.
Right? Like let's just say I needed to cut it down. You can just get your brush and then reduce it, and then that's it.
That's awesome.
So pretty cool. I'll do the same thing just for special effects.
And it's nice to know the different ways because different tools work better on different images or different parts of images, depending on like what the smudge or the like thing you're trying to clean up is. So it's nice to like know all those tools so that when you get to one where you're like, oh, the spot healing's not really working, like what else can I try?
Exactly. So in this case, like this is exactly what I mean, right? Like it actually did a good job of like knowing what's around it and not picking anything up from the bottom, right? Because we have like a velvet cloth at the bottom. But let's say for some reason it did, right? Like to remove that, then you would just, be like, okay, I don't want you to grab information from that. So I'm just going to remove it only from the vase. And then it generates like a new, a new content aware fill, basically. So, and you press OK, and that's it. So pretty easy. I love it.
That's awesome.
So there we go. That looks awesome right there. Okay, and then now I do want to fix that this little section over here, which I'm just gonna grab from here. Let's see how this goes. Especially because it's a little bit smaller, so I'm definitely gonna have to like transform it, kind of warp it. But let's see. So if I'm gonna grab, okay. So basically what I want to do, and I want to make a pretty, I mean, I could, again, so many different ways to do this. I could, do something like this. But sometimes that's, it's not exact.
Yeah.
So I like to always use the curvature pen tool to kind of help guide me. And that, I mean, there's differences between obviously the pen tool, the freeform tool, and the curvature. The curvature one is great because it like goes with the form of the curve, which is awesome. And you can like adjust, so like there, for example, like I'm gonna need to adjust as well.
Right. Yeah.
Oops. And you always add too.
Super like it's kind of a more organic shape versus like a straight up oval.
Yes.
If you guys are just joining us, Arabela is working on editing some spooky Harry Potter themed cocktails. So she's working in Photoshop right now, cleaning up and just perfecting this image. And then later on, she's going to be doing a little bit of animation. So feel free to ask questions and stick around for that. It's going to be fun.
Cool. So I had made a path and then I just right clicked to make a selection, and then we're good to go. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it and I'm going to bring it over to our other little section over here. So now I'm just going to transform it. See if I can make it look like it's always supposed to have been there. Okay. So I'm going to do Command T again for transform, and I'm going to use the warp tool. I love this thing. It just kind of helps define. I can kind of move things and put them in place where I want them to. There we go. I always like to kind of like lift it up to see like, okay, am I in the right area?
Original?
Where was it?
Yeah.
There we go. So that's looking pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted something so that it like it kind of keeps it with the like.
It was distracting before.
It was just distracting. Yeah, it's like a light spot in a very like dark, sultry photo.
Yeah,
so
your
like,
eye just kind of goes right there, and you want your eye to go to the cocktail. That's the most important thing.
Exactly. So
yes.
Yeah. So there we go.
Sam says, "Love a good warp tool."
Yes, I know. It's awesome. And like one of the great things too about the warp tool is that you can always like change the settings for using warp. So like in the grid section, you can change it to 3x3. Like you can get really specific.
Yeah.
And even like change like kind of like the direction of some of the points too. Which is great. Sometimes like you end up coming across like, I don't know, like fabrics or things where like they're a little wonky, and sometimes that fix will really help.
Yes.
So that's great.
Carol says, "I like warp speed."
Warp speed.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, there we go. Perfect. That looks good. And then I'm trying to remember. So this was like a cocktail. I don't know if you guys love cocktails, but this was like a Fernet cocktail, right? That I'm remembering.
Yeah.
The Leaky Cauldron is what it was called. And it was a cocktail that actually was a contributed cocktail, which was really fun.
The guest we had on that episode made up this recipe basically.
Yes. And it was like cherry juice and like obviously we got the maraschino cherry, the Fernets. So that was really cool.
It tasted like what you feel like the Leaky Cauldron. Like if you go there, like that's kind of like what it would taste like. Honestly, I don't know how to describe it, but it was like bitter and dark and like the berry, like it was like
good. Minty a little bit too. It was so interesting.
It was a very unique cocktail.
Yes, it definitely was. Okay.
And I had never had Fernet. Is that how you say
Fernet?
it? Mm-hmm.
Fernet. It's like a pretty herbal, like it's like an herbal Italian liqueur is what it is.
Yeah, I'd never had it before.
I'd never had it before, or like I had smelled it, but because it was like minty, so like it's like you catch that whiff.
Immigrants like minty? Yeah, it was minty. I don't know how else to describe it. It was
honestly the first time that I tried Fernet, it was actually, or the first time that I like smelled it, I literally thought it smelled like toothpaste. Like, my best friend loves Fernet, and I just was like, I didn't taste it, but I smelled it, and I was like, I don't know about that. But I think that like the cherry juice and all the like the sweetness helped balance out the mintiness.
Yeah, for sure. It does sound weird though, and
it really does.
I don't know if it was good. I don't know if it'd be my first choice for a liqueur, but But like I feel like it worked in this particular drink, especially because of the theme and like what we were going for.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just cleaning up some of these areas. There's a couple of little water spots here, and I'm just using the stamp tool, which is great if it's like an easy, like straightforward stamp. Like it's awesome. There we go. Cool. Now that looks good to me. Okay. So now I kind of want to just like dive into some like little details that I like to do. So I'm just going to do some adjustments. Obviously always trying to work non-distractively. So actually I'm going to do a levels adjustment. Kind of play around with some of the darks, the shadows, the brights, and the midtones. So I'm going to bring it up slightly because I do want to see some of those bright parts.
Yeah, some of the detail there.
Keep that a little bit. I can always go back in when I do some like dodging and burning. I can always like darken or brighten some of the areas too. So that's fine. I think I like that. Okay. And then one thing that I remember doing about this image too is that I remember when I first made this cocktail, I thought it was, I think because of the cherry, I don't know why in my head I thought, oh, this is probably going to be like a, you know, slightly reddish tone-ish of a cocktail. And it is in a way, but it's definitely like more orangey. Like it's definitely a little bit more auburn or like
rust kind of.
Rust. Yeah. And so like I think I remember I actually like changed the color of the
drapes.
The drapes. So I'm gonna do that right now. And I'm going to, so there's a couple different ways I can do that. Of course I can do a hue saturation layer, and I can just go into my reds and just like start messing with kind of the slider here, the hue slider. But obviously I want to make sure that I use a layer mask to then remove what it is, because obviously this starts to look
curtains. Yeah.
So I think this was like the original, and I kind of like turned it over a little bit, kind of here maybe. So something like that. And then I'm going to use my layer mask. I'm going to have like a soft brush here. And I'm going to start painting in the parts that I don't want. And I could do this the other way too. I can like also paint in just the curtain.
Yeah.
Totally up to you. Actually, I'm going to, there we go. Cool. I know sometimes like you don't have the exact color of whatever background, and so you might need to make some changes in Photoshop or Lightroom. And it's an easy way to kind of make things a little bit more cohesive.
Yeah, or just look the exact color that you're looking for.
Yes. Okay. Oops.
Yeah, we just did a shoot recently where the client really wanted like colorful bathrooms and colorful kitchens and all these things, but with the time frame, like we didn't have the time to actually build out those sets. So what we did instead was just shot in a home that was mostly neutral, because where we are, like we tried to find something that fit all the different colors and everything that they wanted, but it just wasn't.
Yeah, you kind of have to build something like that.
Yeah, we were like, this doesn't exist. So we were like, we have to build it, which we don't have the time for. Or we just shot in like a neutral home that was mostly like white and gray. And then in post-production, changed all the colors of the tiles and the walls, and everything got changed. I
know. So which is like so interesting.
Totally different than the actual like home, you know?
I know. Which is like crazy, you know? It's like,
but that's how like Photoshop is magic, you know?
Exactly.
You can totally just be like, this wall is gray, but it needs to be purple. So here we go.
Exactly. And of course, if I wanted to get real specific about what color I wanted, you know, and have like, let's say I had like a specific, what is it called? Is it a hex code?
Yeah. Like say a client gave you,
let's say a client gave you
this is our brand color or something.
Yeah, like, and you wanted to apply that specifically, then at that point, I'd probably actually do like a selection, you know, a rough selection of the drapes, or of the prop or whatever it is, that you want to change the color. And from there, I'd probably, you know, I'd apply the color and change the blending mode to, let's say, like, you know, color or hue or something like that, just so that like that would work for that. If you wanted to get more specific. But I think, you know, in this case, I just wanted to push it to a little bit more of an orangey kind of red.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like kind of removing the color from the cattails.
General Kenobi says it's like a pinkish hue, a rosy glow.
A rosy glow. Okay, there we go. Just had to make some little tweaks here. Okay, so I've always said that my favorite movie, I mean, tell us if you watched Harry Potter, you guys, but I've always said that like my favorite movie was number 4, Goblet of Fire.
That's so sad.
I know, it's so sad, but like it's so good. But then now I'm like, maybe it's not. Maybe now it's like 3. Like I'm kind of like between 3 and 4 now.
I love 3 and I love 5.
So good.
I love Sirius Black.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Yeah,
so
but
good.
The tournament in 4 is really cool. I feel like the way they do that is just, yeah, it's so cool.
I know. I think it was just kind of like a turning point. Like, yeah, it's very beautiful. And it was like a turning point of like, oh, this is real. Like, you know, it's getting a little dark.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It kind of moves from like more childhood to like, okay, like things are getting real. Paco says Prisoner of Azkaban is the GOAT. And then Oliver says, yes, I watched them all. Oliver, which one is your favorite? Let us know.
Yes. Tell us which one's your favorite and why.
And why? Yeah.
And why.
Please be prepared to give a defense for your reason. For what your favorite is.
Okay, there we go. That looks pretty good. I like that already. I mean, I like the red too, but I think it's just like having more of that like rusty red.
Wow. Paco gave such
Did he go all in?
A good explanation. Great writing, amazing cinematography. And then the director is Alfonso Cuarón, who directed Gravity, Roma, and E2 Mama.
Oh my gosh. Someone knows their films.
Paco.
That is incredible.
I know. Amazing.
Paco's the GOAT. Let's be real.
Of course.
I mean, he's the GOAT of like all Adobe Life.
Wow. I love that though. That's like, so yeah. And it does have great writing and the cinematography.
Yes.
It's just beautiful.
It's so good. Okay. So there's our hue saturation. Just little tweaks, you know, nothing crazy there. And then
I feel like the color change actually makes it feel more magical or something. Like it feels more, it feels less like, I don't know how to describe it, but less like I'm at like a 1920s bar or something. I'm more like, I don't know. The color is just,
the color works better.
Feels more glowing or something.
I agree. So I was like, that needs to happen. We need to do that. So, okay, cool. So I'm pretty happy with that. And then now I'm going to do some dodging and burning. Of course, there's so many ways to do this. And I definitely encourage all of you to like, you know, do some like research. I know Photoshop has a lot of things out there. I know YouTube has a lot of things out there. There's so many different ways. And I think like no one way is the right way. I think whatever works for you. I always just like to grab my, do a Command A to select everything, do a copy, merge, paste, and that's just kind of gonna be my dodge and burn. And I literally use the tools themselves. I know people like to do like a 50% gray layer and like kind of work that way. I know that that's kind of technically more non-destructively, like working non-destructively. But it's honestly up to you guys, like how you work. I think, you know, don't let anybody tell you like what's the right way.
General Kenobi says, there's the right way, the wrong way, and the max power way. Same as the wrong way, but faster.
Okay, there we go. Woo. So basically what I'm doing is I just have my little dodge tool and I have like a pretty soft brush. I have exposure at 2%. I mean, you can really go overboard with it. So like, I think keeping it low is good. And I'm just bringing up those like really bright parts of the image and like, oops. It's like subtle, but it makes a difference. At least I tell myself that it does. Okay, let's see. Perfect. There we go. Yeah, see? I'm like turning it off and I can see it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm just like bringing up, like, see, these are the parts that I want featured, right? Like I do want like our eyes to go here.
Yeah.
Kind of like almost like leading your eye here, kind of going down and just like around the image and kind of, you know, here's where I want the focus. You know, I think when we had that like bar over here, it was kind of like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because something that is bright is gonna draw your eye. And so obviously this image is like very dark, but that's why like the direction of your light is so important, because you want your light to be your key light to be like where your eye should go. So then like being able to increase that contrast in Photoshop by like brightening it up a little bit will just draw your eye right there.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just going over the little cattails and going over the little specks here. Being pretty loose with it. I think that's like the key part, at least for my way. I know there's like definitely other ways that are very specific, but I like it. Okay, maybe I'll just give this a little bit of a cool. I think I'm happy with that. Okay, and then same thing as far as the burn tool. I mean, just soft brush, keeping that exposure there. I find these ones on the side a little bit too bright, so I'm gonna just kind of like go over them a little bit, give them a little bit more of a vignette. Okay, there we go. Cool. And I can always like go back too. Like I can add my, you know, a layer mask and remove if I feel like, okay, that's not what I wanted to do. So it's totally, you know, possible to go back to. Don't feel like you know, you've lost it all. Okay. Cool. All right. And then from here, I'm really going to push this image to be a lot more like really sharp and like very like almost like really overly sharpened. Sometimes we like that like super like kind of textured look.
Gritty. Yeah.
Yeah. So typically I like to do the high pass method, which again, I'm just going to copy that, call it sharpen. And it's you head over to filter, other, and high pass. And somewhere between like 1.5 to 2 is great, like pixels wise. As long as you start seeing some of the edges, I think that's a good sign. Something like that. And you can, you know, go from either soft light, hard light, linear light. That's always like a really sharpened look. Sometimes it's like a little bit too much, so I'll bring down the opacity just so that it's not like insane. But that's like that really brings out
the detail in that glass.
The detail in the glass. And I kind of love this like little like weird thing right here. So that's always really fun. Something that is interesting about like sharpening this way is that like if you didn't clean up certain things, you'll notice them a lot more.
Right.
Which like, you know, sometimes that's part of it. Like, you know, maybe you want to keep that, but sometimes like then you'll notice it and you'll be like, oh, okay, let me go back or something. So then, you know, you can always delete it because it's such a simple, you know, thing that you can just redo again. But yeah, it's like great. It's like I love the details that it brings out and it looks awesome. So one other thing that I actually wanted to do, and something that I can actually still do if I just go back to my dodge and burn layer, is I actually want to bring up some of the curtains in the back too. Actually, I forgot to kind of brighten up some of those light parts right there.
Oh yeah.
And I might need to change my range to midtones so that it picks up those little, there you go. It's a little bit better.
And if you guys are just joining us, welcome. Please say hello in the chat. Please feel free to ask questions. We definitely want to make sure we get to any questions that you guys have about Photoshop, photography, freelance, whatever it is that's on your mind. We're happy to chat about that. And Arabela is editing a image that is a spooky Halloween Harry Potter cocktail. Yes. Working in Photoshop. So yeah, say hello and feel free to ask Ask away.
Ask away. Okay. So I'm just brightening up kind of like those bright parts of the curtain back there. So just subtle, but it's like, it definitely makes a difference. There you go. Cool. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this image. So I'm gonna save it. And what's great is that as soon as I save it, like I'm gonna be able to go back into my Lightroom and see that it's saved on there. So if I wanted to make additional tweaks, I can do that. And I always like find like, I love just the seamlessness between Lightroom Classic and Photoshop. So there it is. There's my image. And I do actually want to make a couple more tweaks. So I'm gonna I love the texture slider in Lightroom Classic. I'm pretty sure the other Lightroom probably has it too. But I just like really like pushing it because it like makes things like kind of like even more a little bit more intense. So that's always really fun to play with. And maybe I want to like, you know, darken things a little bit more and like bring up the highlights just slightly. Honestly, like I feel like editing is such a like sometimes like it's so hard to know when to stop too.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I think like you can keep playing around with an image like forever, really.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes. So yeah, there we go. And then maybe let me see what it looks like if I were to add a little bit of grain as well. Maybe a little bit. So one thing too is that the Lightroom Classic has these little kind of toggle buttons so that you can see like what effects are happening. So in this case I have the grain and I kind of like it. Maybe, let me see. I'm going to back up a little bit. I mean, I like either way. I think it depends, but maybe I'll keep it off for now. Okay, cool. So that's pretty much our image here. I could also, let's say I wanted to make some more changes. So again, if you still have like your Photoshop, right, with the same image, like that's what's great is that like once you update this image, it'll update again in Lightroom, which is great. So right now I just thought like, oh, why not add like a little sparkle?
Oh yeah.
So I've gotten these brushes, and again, you can find brushes kind of like anywhere, like sparkle brushes or like things for like all sorts, and like they're a really great thing to have in your brush toolbox. So let me see which ones might work. Obviously, the more realistic that you can make it, the better. So I have this one right here, flare. So I think the key thing that you want to look for, and I wish I knew where these ones were specifically, but if you kind of like search up flares, like camera flare or like lens flare, that kind of thing, that will get you kind of like the more realistic kind of sparkle that you would get like if you're you know, if you caught like, you know, the lens of your camera. So anyway, so let me just bring this down a little bit, and I'm gonna create a new layer so that I'm working on a whole separate thing and I don't have to disrupt anything that I've already done. And maybe I just want to see how that looks. And maybe I want to actually do it maybe like over here. Or what do we think? I feel like you have to like do it in a spot where like the light is like the most bright.
The light would hit in that way.
Yeah, so it could either be like right here or like right here. What do you think?
I think that one makes sense.
Maybe we do a few.
Yeah. I mean, that draws your eye even more, like directly to that little cherry.
Yeah. And you can even like get, I know, right? You can even get more dramatic, right? You can have like one drama one that's like, oh my gosh. And you can always like blur it and kind of like make it, you know, like honestly, it's up to you. I think like however, like.
Well, and it's the style of the image too. Like, are you going for something super realistic, or are you going for something that's a little bit more editorial, a little bit more playful maybe, or, you know.
Yes, exactly.
Peter says that one was too much.
Yeah, I think that one was too much too. We don't want drama.
But
we don't
it's
want drama.
fun. Yeah, no drama here. But
No
it's
drama.
fun. It's fun to play around with and just see and test it out. Because sometimes you're like, this could be too much, but then you try it and it's actually really fun, you know?
Exactly.
You don't know
just never
until you try.
You never
Yeah.
know. And you can always play with the blending modes too, with like these kind of like I think you can get like a little bit more of a glowy effect.
Yeah.
Depending on which blending mode you use. But I don't mind the normal. I think that because it looks pretty realistic. So I was like, okay, I like this. I'll just call this sparkles. And I press save, press OK, and I go back, and it should update at some point.
As soon as it saves.
As soon as it saves. But yeah, gotta love Photoshop. And Lightroom, because both of them together are the best. There you go. Perfect. And the great thing too is that like usually like it like depending on how you saved your settings, obviously sometimes it like resets it. But like if you have copied your settings too, you can just reapply what you've done. So in this case, like I'm just gonna push over that texture slider again and kind of bring down the shadows again, highlights, and bring down the blacks a little bit too. There we go. And there we go. That's Leaky Cauldron.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Good
So
job.
that's one of our stills. Now let's move over to another image of ours, which is the one that we're going to be animating. But this one's also going to be a little bit more, a little bit of compositing, because I'll show you why. Our fabric was this small. So I had to literally yeah. I was like, I need to make this work because I like this fabric so much.
I think we got that fabric at Goodwill or something, and it was like in the section where you find sheets and pillowcases, and like they have like random fabric there sometimes. And we were like, this is so cool. And we've had it for years, but it is so small that it's actually very hard to shoot with.
It's so hard to shoot with.
Unless it's like kind of on the bottom, like just like a table runner or something.
I know. I even tried to set it up like on the bottom.
Yeah.
But I think because I want because of the kind of like the fake plants that I wanted to have, you know, coming forward, like it just wasn't enough. But I also just like generally liked it as like, you know, the backdrop. So I wanted to make it work, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make it work.
Sometimes that's what you gotta do.
What you gotta do.
It's a make it work moment. If anyone knows Tim Gunn.
Yes. So cool. So I'll just get right to it. So
yeah, Peter says this is where Photoshop works best. This is the magical part of Photoshop.
The magical part of Photoshop. Yes. You can tell like where I started too, as far as lighting and like, you know, setup. And then I ended up kind of like changing some things, but yeah, so let me just do kind of my usual corrections here. I'm going to copy those settings, paste them over here onto all three of these images so that I can then stitch them together. So I'm going to open them all in Photoshop. And I could, like open up all the documents as layers, like that's an option. But I always like converting the documents colors to the working space. So like from ProPhoto to RGB to sRGB, since it's usually like gonna go online. So that's always a good thing for us.
General Kenobi says this is where the fun begins.
That's right.
Definitely.
Okay, so I'm gonna grab this second image here and I'm gonna paste it. Oh, and I probably didn't copy it. Okay, there we go. There we go. And then I'm gonna grab this one, Command A, Command C, and paste it. Oh wait, did I just paste the same exact thing? I think I did. There we go. Okay. Cool. Okay.
Nice.
Great. Love it. I don't need these anymore. We are good to go. But I have all these here. So one of the things that I love and have been using lately is this auto align tool that Photoshop has. So basically, like, it's pretty common. Sometimes it can be pretty common that sometimes like your set moves, or like maybe you like I've noticed this actually sometimes when we've done like stop motions, like poor Ellie, like when she, you know, if you have your hand in a scene, like you use your other hand as support, and like sometimes that brings the table down. So there's like little like inconsistencies sometimes. So like if you can see, I'm pasting, you know, or I'm going between the second image and the third image, and they're all like slightly
off. Yeah, like your camera
slightly
maybe
off.
Moved slightly or something.
Yeah, anything could happen.
Yeah,
something happened. So I like to do, let's see. And let me see if I remember how to do this. Auto align layers. That is what I want to do. So it's in edit, auto align layers. And I'm just going to do auto. See how that goes. And I press OK. And there you go.
Oh, yeah.
That is
good
pretty
job,
good.
Photoshop.
Good job, Photoshop. I love you so much.
Making our lives easier.
Honestly, are we really the wizards if Photoshop is doing the...
I know, right? If you just like press a button and Photoshop does everything. But you have to know what button to press. It's important.
Yes, true. Very true.
General Kenobi says, I hadn't noticed the square kiwi. I know. Such a good touch, Arabella. Good job.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. I love it because it's such a like random like shape.
Yeah.
It's like everything else in the scene is kind of pretty round. And I was like, maybe I should have kept it round, but then I was like, whatever. It's like
I like
an oddball.
It's fun. It's very fun.
Cool. So there's our auto aligned layers. It's great. It works awesome. I think it could work really great for like when you are doing stop motion and animation.
Yeah.
So I think that's an excellent tool for that. But obviously like the differences have to be minor. Otherwise, like I think sometimes Photoshop will do some funky things. So you just never know. Yeah. I could have also like manually moved the layers too, potentially, but I think if there's a button that does it already, if there's a tool like the auto align layers that does it already for me, then I'm just gonna do it.
If you can save yourself some time, do it.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm gonna just hide these layers first, and I'm gonna make this our base layer. So I'm gonna lock it in place. And then I am going to duplicate it so I can do like what I want to call it, composite. Okay, so now I'm gonna use a layer mask so that I can just start kind of like painting what I want to include. In this case is like that middle part of the fabric.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do Command I for invert, one of those. And that turns my layer mask black. And I'm going to grab my paintbrush and switch over to white. Make sure I'm on white. And I don't want sparkles. I want my regular brush. So grab a nice soft brush there. And see, and you can tell where like Photoshop, you know, like they align kind of those layers. So I actually want to make sure that when I'm ready to crop that I crop that part out.
Yes, definitely.
But I'm going to just do all the compositing first, just because that will be helpful. Okay. So, actually, maybe I don't even want to take that out. Maybe I just want to add. There we go.
Oliver says, Photoshop is magic, but you have to know the right spells to make it work.
Oh my gosh.
It's true.
Love you. Yes,
it's true.
It's so true. So true. And look at me creating magic just out of thin air. I love it. Look at it appearing out of nowhere.
I know. Gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Okay. So here we go. And again, I don't have to worry about like, you know, I can be a little careless because everything's aligned. So that's great.
Yes.
Okay, now we've got our final layer over here that we need to add in. So I'm going to add in that layer mask again, invert it to turn it black, and then start painting again. And I have a low opacity. I could just like bump it up so it's like all the way. There we go. Okay. Sweet. That looks pretty good to me.
Nice.
See, it's like, you know, like it was always there.
Just like magic.
Just like magic. By the way, this cocktail is the polyjuice potion one, which like, you know, it looks kind of ugly, but it also looks ugly in the movie. So I feel like it's...
Yeah, it looks like kind of what it looks like in the movie. And guys, it actually tasted really good. Tastes
really good. So basically what I did is it's like a frozen Midori. If you guys have ever had a Midori sour, which is a melon liqueur, it's like a very like pretty sweet, but also like fruity.
Yeah.
Like, and slightly sour cocktail. But I decided to make it a slushy, so like it so that it had like that consistency of the polyjuice potion, kind of, you know. But also I added kiwi, so that's what gives kind of like that speckled.
Was what tasted so good.
I know, and it actually like came out a lot in the drink.
Yeah,
awesome.
The flavor of it was so good.
Yes. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and grab these two layers. I'm going to merge them, and I'm going to merge them down so that it's my composite. There we go.
General Kenobi says, shaken or stirred?
Shaken or stirred. Blended.
Blended in this
that's
case.
That's what it is. Blended here. But it was so good. I loved it. It was a very refreshing kind of like, you know, it's kind of like having just like a smoothie, really.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so there we have our composite. One of the things that I remember I think I fixed about this image was I had moved up I had like shifted over this like, what do you call it?
A vase?
A vase. This textured vase. I had wanted to make it a little bit more straight because it looked very crooked here.
It does look crooked, yeah.
So, I think I might have just done like a warp tool situation. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. And actually, let's see. Okay. So if I grab this whole thing, I'm gonna Command T for transform. I'm gonna warp it. And again, having that Command R for those for the rulers, and while I'm on crop, I can just pull out these guides. Yeah, see, that looks real like a hot mess right there a little bit. Like, even if I can fix it a little bit, like that helps.
Oh yeah, for sure. And hello to RB. Thank you for joining us. If you guys are just joining, Arabela is editing Polyjuice Potion.
Yes.
Harry Potter themed cocktail, and she just showed some compositing and now playing with the warp tool in Photoshop. And later on, I'm going to show a little bit of animation. So please feel free to ask questions in the chat, say hi. But yeah, would love to answer any questions you guys have. And thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of play around with this. Let's see if I can get to something I like. Sometimes it's tricky. You can't go overboard.
Yeah.
Because then it's obvious.
Then it looks unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think what I might do actually, let me see. Let me hit enter and see what. Yeah, because see, then it starts to mess with some of that. So like, even though sometimes it can work, let me try that one more time. I need to make like subtle adjustments here. Okay. Actually, I'm going to start large first. So, oh, and I removed my guides there. I want to make sure here's what I'm going to do first, actually. Let me change my mind. So I'm going to, instead of doing warp first, I'm going to do a skew. I think that's going to be helpful. So skew is great because then you can pull like from the edges.
Yeah.
Right here. And see, that kind of stays pretty straight.
Yeah.
But that's a big improvement.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
From where it was. Maybe I don't want it to be like too crazy. Like that. And then I can grab the bottom here. And this opens up a little bit too. So that's not bad.
Nice. Yeah.
And again, I'm doing this all before cropping, right? Because I'm like, well, let me just kind of fix these things first.
Yeah.
And then now I am going to go into warp and see if I can fix that. Just that little bit of. Just slightly. See? Like sometimes like that little bit of that angle helps so much. I don't even know what you call these little like points. Because they're not like the main points, but they're the like the angle
little
points.
Anchor points, right?
Anchor, yeah. But there's like these ones that are like.
Yeah.
That help a lot.
Okay, how fun to do a GIF where you're like you use the warp tool to warp the image.
Oh my gosh.
And then it's kind of like
loopy. like
like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the props are just like
I love it.
Fun. We'll have to play around with that.
Yes. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with that. That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And then let me just make sure that this is still a little bit. Okay, this looks a little wonky as well. So I'm going to just fix that. And I'm going to do another skew. And I'm going to bring it from this side this time. Okay. That looks pretty good. Okay. I'm going to hide these guides. Clear them out. Just make sure that we're good. Okay, it still feels a little off. So I'm going to go back in with the warp tool too. For the cocktail at least. Actually, let me do defaults. There we go. Cool.
The guides are helpful because it's sometimes hard to tell with your own eyes.
I know.
If something's actually off or not. So it can kind of tell you, yes, your eyes are correct, or actually it's fine.
I know. I find myself like doing that like weird stare, like when
I'm
like,
you're like,
you know, like concentrating. I'm like, is this like looking good?
Am I going crazy or is this off? I don't know.
Yeah. I know it doesn't help when you shoot like some of the stuff, like it always trips you up when you shoot like at an angle.
Yeah.
You know, because it's very natural for things to look off because that's just how it looks. That's like, you know, when you're at an angle, everything is distorted.
Right.
So, okay, that looks pretty good to me. I'm pretty happy with that. The other thing that I want to fix too is that like this looks really straight compared to kind of like these like softer, like what do you call them? Like little folds. Yeah. So I'm just gonna like do a little magic, a little stamp magic. And on the same composite layer, I'm just gonna grab this and like just kind of add a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And obviously like we're getting a little bit from that vase. I'm just gonna go back a little bit. And I'm literally just going to stamp my way all the way down.
Nice.
And I can also fix some of that too.
Hello, Anderson. Thank you for joining us. General Kenobi says, your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them. It's true. They can. They can be very deceiving.
They really can. They really can. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay. And obviously this almost looks a little bit too fake. So I'm gonna grab some of the black, bring down the opacity, and stamp. Oops. Actually, I'm gonna grab it from here. And just kind of darken this a little bit. So that it looks more realistic, that it's like kind of fading. There we go. Cool. Okay. I'm just gonna kind of fix this. And that part might not even be in the image, but I'm getting carried away. Okay. Okay, great. So that looks pretty good to me. Now let's just do the crop, because so I don't go crazy trying to clean things that aren't part of the image.
Yeah. Good call. Good call.
Yes. Okay. So I'm thinking somewhere around here is probably good. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good crop.
Yeah.
And I might actually even like stamp a little extra thing over here, just because it feels like it needs it. So let's see. So I'll grab. Oh, and I want to make sure that I also am cropping out that part.
That
top. Yeah. Okay. Make sure all my edges are good. Great. Love it. Okay. So let's go ahead and just copy or stamp a little bit of that green right there. Just because it felt like it needed a little something.
Yeah. More magic.
There we go. Cool. I'm gonna bring it in a little bit more. Okay, great. That looks good to me. Okay, cool. And now we're basically ready to do all the cleanup part. So this was pretty messy, as you can see. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit, but I'll try not to bore you guys with all of it. We'll try to get to the part where we do some animation. But I do want to make sure that it's clean enough.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and duplicate that. Make that my clean layer. And some of these things aren't just specks, right? They're coming from like the fake plant. So I'm going to have to I could maybe get away with some of the smaller things using the dust and scratches tool, but some of them, the bigger things, are like kind of impossible. So I'm just gonna real quick, real easy. Oops. There we go.
Just do that Reparo spell.
Yeah, do the Reparo spell and we're good to go. Okay, you guys have to answer this. If there was one potion that you could have in real life, what would it be?
Oh, that's such a hard question.
I know. It doesn't have to be Harry Potter related either. Like just like a random potion.
Just a spell. I mean,
a magical potion that could make
a
you
real
do something
life
or whatever.
Cleaning spell would be great. Just like,
actually, yes.
You know, it would just save so much time.
Yeah.
Like
it really would.
If I had a spell to like clean my kitchen counters right now, like how you're cleaning this, but like with one spell, that'd be great.
That would be great. I love that. I was actually like thinking, I really like that potion that Harry Potter has for like, I think it was like when you get really lucky or something. I forget what it was called.
It's called
like everything goes your way.
Yeah. I forget what it's called. Somebody remembers.
Yes.
But yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, I was like, I love that one. That's fun.
Oh yeah. Sounds very fun.
but the clean, or actually something that could do my laundry. That would be great.
Yeah.
That would be a useful spell or whatever. Okay. There we go. Getting through this. Does anyone do like Halloween trick-or-treating anymore? I feel like last night, like I had a whole bag of candy, but nobody came to our door.
Oh, we had like 5 or 6 kids, but we kind of live in the, we live in like a small neighborhood. So it was like, I'm sure a lot of the kids in our neighborhood like went to bigger neighborhoods with more houses. So, and I don't think other people would come like to our neighborhood because it's only like a few streets. It's not huge.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like boxed in, like that's kind of it. So
yeah,
I wasn't expecting tons of kids, but it was fun that a few of them came.
Maybe it's because we didn't even try to decorate.
Yeah, maybe.
But we're like, well, hopefully some kids come by. I'm like, we have a whole bag, but now it's like that bag is sitting in my living room and I'm like, we know this, that we're gonna eat this all.
Oh my gosh, I know. Yeah, your Tamara says liquid luck. That's what it's called.
Liquid luck.
That's what it's called.
Gosh.
Umacorn says, I'd like to be able to apparate. Not sure about potions. That would be very helpful, actually.
That would be great.
Yeah. And Sam says, we don't seem to get trick-or-treaters around here.
Oh.
Carol says, I eat all the chocolate. Yeah, that's my problem is I can't have it in the house.
I know.
If it's just sitting there, I'll just eat it.
I know. What's everyone's favorite candy?
Reese's peanut butter cups.
Ooh.
Number 1, always.
That's pretty good candy. I love a good sour candy, like sour Skittles or sour belts.
Yeah, that's good too.
But I also love a good spicy, like Mexican candy too. Like anything with tamarind is so good. Love a good tamarind candy. Okay, we're nearing the end, you guys. Sort of. That's pretty good though. Look at, we went from that to that.
There we go.
That's not bad at all. Okay, now we gotta clean up some of the bits over here. Okay, let's see. I'm wondering, oops. I kind of feel like there needs to be a little bit of this down here.
Yeah,
so
it's kind of getting lost.
Okay. Just like a little bit. Okay. Oops. Too far. That's pretty good. I like that. Okay. Okay, let me fix this like poor kiwi. This kiwi square. Oh, okay. Let's see.
Anderson says, beautiful job, girls.
Thank you.
I cannot take credit for this photo. Normally we do shoot everything together, but
we shoot everything together.
I was not a part of this one.
And you know why? Like, this took me too long. That's for sure. If Ellie was involved, we'd be so much more efficient.
Well, it's hard to like style and shoot everything all by yourself.
Yes, it really is. I
hard.
give props to people who do like product photography on their own, you know, like, because it is a lot of work, especially when you're creating things too.
Yep.
You know? So mad props to people who are doing a lot of freelancing alone, for sure. Yeah. Okay.
Oliver says, I liked Polyjuice just because Hermione accidentally turned herself into a cat. I do love that scene in the movie.
I do too, even though it was kind of sad. Or like, you know, like she was so upset.
But it's cool how they did it. And like, I don't know. I love Hermione, but she's also like kind of full of herself. So it was kind of nice that like it didn't work out for her in that one instance.
Also, like how funny that it was just a cat, you know, like
I know.
And she's gonna have like a cat basically later on.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, there we go. Gotta fix some of these little. Maybe it's too much. I don't know. Maybe I'm going too crazy.
Yeah, because it should look like it was cut, but
right?
like not perfectly, you know.
Maybe I've gone overboard, guys.
Yeah, I feel like having a little bit of roughness is good. Yeah, like that. That's
something
perfect.
like that. Maybe I'll like just like a little like that. Okay, there we go. Sometimes I have to take a step back. Otherwise, like I will make things a little too perfect.
Yeah. Hi, Max. Thank you for joining us. If you're just joining, Arabela is editing this Polyjuice Potion, Harry Potter themed cocktail. And yeah, we're chatting about Photoshop, chatting about Harry Potter, all the things. So feel free to ask questions in the chat, and she's gonna keep working on this and then get to animating in a little bit, which will be fun. So yeah, thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you. I know. I feel like it's actually really helping to like talk more. I think I like guys, if you're joining us, I've had to deal with a little bit of a sore throat the last 2 days, and I wasn't able to like talk much. Or like I just had painful swallowing, extreme chills, like all the things. But today I felt so much better. And like it's actually helping to like talk more. I think that's good. Yeah, like it's a good thing. I feel like maybe because I wasn't talking for a whole 2 days that like
yeah.
I know it's the season, guys. I don't know. I think something's going around too.
No fun.
I know.
That would be a good spell too. Is like if you get sick, you can just heal yourself.
Like remedy, like a quick fix.
Like never have a cold again.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. That would be great. Because being sick is not it.
No.
Okay, cool. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Okay, cool. So love that. That's great. Now I'm gonna start tweaking some of the colors and kind of wrap up the editing so that we can get to the animating. And it's going to be something that I actually haven't done like live before. Like I've done it like once before. So it's going to be a bit of a trial and error, but it's going to be like a fun thing to do with everybody. Cause I think it's always good to like, to do it together.
It's kind of cool to see somebody troubleshoot something.
Oh, 100%. And I think that's like the best part
to get
about
everyone's
learning.
input. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I'm done cleaning, and I think I'm pretty happy with that. I do want to change the color of the velvet backdrop to a little bit more on the yellow side.
Yeah.
Slightly. So again, I think here I'll probably do an adjustment layer again, just hue saturation. Actually, maybe I'll do a selection so that you guys can see how I do that instead. So basically, I'm grabbing my magic wand tool, one of the best selection tools.
I mean,
and I'm literally
for this stream.
I mean, very fitting for the stream, you guys. I know we should have came in costume. Like I should have put.
Oh my gosh, I should have borrowed Josh's wizard cape.
Oh my gosh,
cloak. What is it called?
The cloak. What if I just like showed up in like a full green screen outfit so that I was like, I had the invisibility cloak on and I was just editing invisibly, like,
That'd be pretty crazy.
Okay, so yeah, I have a tolerance of 20, which is like great because it like allows me to like select kind of more points. It like knows like what I want. So I'm literally just making all these selections. Great. Just takes a few clicks. We're good to go. And if you're missing, because there's always remember the name.
Well, you don't say the name when you're just editing by yourself. You're just like, this This tool, this round one.
This tool, this thing, this rope, you know? Okay. So I think that's pretty spot on. Here we go. I might just like click on some of these dark spots right here. Okay. There we go. Okay. And then now I always love to do a select and mask so that I can kind of make adjustments to the selection. And one of the easiest things is using the radius. So I like to push it to see if it like knows where to, and it usually does a pretty good job of knowing what it is I want it to select. So in this case, all that's left is just a little bit right here. So I'm going to grab the Refine Edge Brush tool and just kind of go over those little spots right there just so it picks them up. There we go. Right here. Here. There we go. Okay.
Robert says that would have been cool. Only a mouth and 2 eyes. If you just had like a
Literally
mouth and eyes, that would be so
I know.
funny.
Or like I could have done like a green cloth with 2 holes.
You could have like appeared though.
That's true.
That would have
Wait,
been cool.
Someone's done that before.
Yeah, a long time ago. Remember, it was when we were still streaming at the Adobe office.
In the studio, yeah.
I don't remember who it was or what stream it was, but somebody did do that, and that was pretty cool.
That was cool. Okay, cool. So now I've got my selection, and again, like I can literally do an adjustment layer, hue, saturation, but let's say I wanted to instead pick a specific color. So I'm going to do a new fill layer. I'm going to do a solid color. I'm going to press OK. And I'm just going to go over to my greens, and I'm going to pull over more to the yellows, kind of go here. I don't know. We'll kind of play around and see what works. But then I'm going to click on color.
Ooh.
So that's pretty fun. And I can literally go back in and just start kind of like, you know, seeing what color I like. I mean, I could go crazy and do something else if I really wanted to, but I want to stick to like a more monochromatic look, I think. What do we think? Do we like a more muted green like that? I mean, I think I remember, or like I did more of a bright green, like a Salazar Slytherin green.
I kind of like this muted look, though.
I kind of like the muted look, though, too.
Yeah, it looks good.
I think it helps to kind of like put the drink and like the stuff in front.
Yeah.
The center.
Yeah.
So I might kind of do that. Okay. All right, guys. We're going with it.
Robert says, I would not be surprised if it was Val or Hawk. It wasn't either of them.
Who was it?
It was 2 guys who I don't think they like normally streamed. I think that they like worked for Adobe or they were on one of the teams or something. That's kind of what I vaguely remember, but I don't remember who it was.
Yeah.
And it was years ago, so I don't know if I could find the stream.
Oh my gosh, I know.
But yeah, it was cool. They like put on one of the guys had like a green cloth, and then like the other guy like made him appear. It was fun.
That is super fun.
Max says that you could maybe add some more green into the cocktail as a suggestion.
Yeah. Well, so like you'll see, we're gonna be doing a little animation there. So that'll be the fun part, and I think I definitely do want to make it a little bit more of a colored green. So we'll definitely add a little bit of that. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with that, actually. Like, I think that really looks
really good.
Cool. That looks actually better than the previous one.
Good job.
I'm digging it. So cool. Let's go with that. Okay, so now, like you said, love to change the color of the drink itself. So I'm gonna grab the selection tool again. There's a lot of colors in here, so we're gonna kind of have to clean up the selection too a little bit. So let's see. I want to be careful not to get too much. Okay. I think that's good. And then I'm just going to take the lasso tool and just kind of like make very loose kind of removing some of those selections there. could be a little bit more specific, you know, get a little more detailed, but I want to get to the good stuff. Okay. Cool. Okay. And then let's go ahead and select that. Actually, I might leave that and just do select and select mask and see what happens if I just do the radius. Okay, so I push over the radius just so that it selects the areas that I want.
Yeah.
And then press OK. Now I'm going to grab layer, adjustment layer, hue saturation. And I think I'm probably going to need to go over to the yellows. I don't think there's no real green in there, even though it looks like it does. But the yellow is really, it's going to be. Yeah, there we go.
Ooh, wow.
See, you guys, like how cool. Okay, so here's kind of our original. And here's kind of like more. Okay, so when I edited this image, I kept the color because I was like, okay, people need to see what the actual color of the cocktail is.
Right. Yeah.
But we're doing magic now, so we're in Adobe Live Hogwarts, so we can get a little crazy. So I think that's kind of fun, just pushing it a little bit so that's a little bit more of a green color. That's kind of fun.
That looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe like
good call.
Yeah. Good call. Who suggested that? Thank you.
Max. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you, Max. Okay, no, that's too much. I'm like seeing if I needed like if I want to do the kiwi as well. Maybe if I bring down the opacity and just kind of like pump it up a little bit. I feel like this one needs a little help too.
Anderson's asking if it's cold where we are. It's cold for us in California, but I'm sure our cold is not cold to a lot of you guys watching from other places.
I know.
But for us, it feels cold. I think today it's like 50 degrees outside, a high of like 55 or something like that. We're in Northern California, so it's a little cooler, but
yes.
I know for a lot of you guys, that's not cold.
Okay, so I'm going to, let's see. I'm going to see if I can like brighten this up a little bit. Okay. Greens. Actually, it's more of a yellows. Whoops.
Oh my goodness. Robert says it's -6 degrees Celsius. That's so cold.
That is very cold.
I think, Robert, you're in Sweden. Is that what I think that's what you had said. Which is so cool. I love Stockholm. It's such
awesome.
Beautiful city. Sam says, it's LA cold for me, which means I can finally turn my window fans off. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So that's pretty much it. I think as far as tweaks go, I don't think I want to change anything else. I think now I just kind of want to clean things up or like sharpen things up, dodge and burn real quick, and then we'll get to the animation part. So yeah, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and just duplicate that and do dodge and burn. And I'm just doing kind of like, you know, this is already like a really bright spot there, so I'm not gonna really touch that. But I do want to brighten up. And I want to change the range, make sure I'm on highlights. And I want to bring up this like little kiwi square. And this kiwi right here.
Oliver says 14 degrees Celsius here in the UK. And Anderson says in Brazil, 17 degrees Celsius. But like, you guys, we don't know Celsius.
We don't know Celsius,
That's the other thing with the US is we have Fahrenheit, and so like the conversion.
I never know.
Yeah, but I know definitely it's colder for you guys.
Okay, I'm just kind of brightening up some of the greenery, the fake greenery here.
Oh, McCorn says 12 Celsius / 53 Fahrenheit in the Netherlands. Okay, 14 degrees Celsius is 57.2. Okay, so actually, like, we're similar right now.
Okay.
So,
cool.
Yeah, thank you for the conversions. I know But I don't know why we don't just all use the same. I don't know why we feel like we need to be different in that. It's so annoying.
America.
It's getting more and more chilly now. Yeah. Wait, Carol says 89 here. It feels like 101. Carol, where are you?
Yeah, where are you?
Yeah.
Wow. I love that there's so many people from so many different places.
I know. It's the best part of Adobe
It's one of my
Live.
favorite parts. Yeah. It's honestly so cool.
Because we all get to connect and we all get, like, we all are united by creativity and these tools that we all use. Magic. Yeah. But it's so unifying and we get to, like, all talk about this thing that we love and how we, like, love to create. And we get to talk to people that we maybe otherwise would never meet or cross paths with because we live far apart.
Exactly. Okay, cool. So I'm pretty happy with that dodge and burn. It's like makes it like pop a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because we always want a little more pop.
Yes. Carol's in South Florida. That makes sense.
Oh,
why
yeah.
It's so hot for you.
Yep. Okay, so I'm just gonna do my usual high pass sharpening method, so we're good to go. And then linear light. Maybe I'm gonna linear light, but bring it down a little bit. Maybe 60%, 65. That looks awesome. Cool. Okay.
Sam says, make it pop 23% more.
Exactly 23% more.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that looks awesome. I actually love this version so much more than the previous one. Might have to update our cocktail photos. I think I just love the green in this.
The green is it's so rich.
It's so rich.
Yeah.
And good call on like changing the color of the the drink. So
yeah, really brought it all together.
I know, it really did. Okay, cool. So let me just go back to Lightroom because now it's updated. So there is our drink. Okay. So there we go. Okay, cool. It's updated. And again, I do want to add a little bit of that texture. Always good to have some texture. For some reason I always like to be on like an even number. I try to. Like if it's like a 39, I'm like, no, it's gotta be like 40. It's
that
gotta be
will
40
not do.
or 35.
People will know.
One of those. I know. Okay, that's awesome. So now I'm gonna just close it on here because I don't want to use the file that has all the edits.
Yeah.
So it's all saved, it's all good. And I'm gonna edit in Photoshop, and it's gonna pull up this option. So it says edit the original, which is like, like all the adjustments that we'd made that one. But I'm gonna do edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments. So I'm gonna click on that one because then it flattens it to 1, right?
Yes.
So
handy.
Very handy. Okay. So I guess we'll see how long this takes me. I think I should probably finish even before then. So maybe we'll get started on something else.
Cool.
But let's see how this goes. So, okay. So basically the animation that I want to do is I want to kind of like make the drink animate in like with a gradient essentially. So that'll be fun. So it kind of like feels like it's kind of like swirling in colors in a way. So
very fun.
Yes.
Oliver says, Sam, did you cast the wrong spell and accidentally transform into a hovering art director? That's good.
So good. You guys, please put in your best Harry Potter or magic puns. I want to hear them.
Yes. Oh, and Robert says Stockholm was also called Sweden Vendig.
Oh, what? Really?
Didn't know.
That's awesome.
I went to Sweden. I went to Stockholm or Sweden Vendig.
It looks so pretty.
Yeah, in 2016, I think it was, and I've wanted to go back ever since. I loved it.
Aww.
A beautiful country, and the people are so nice.
Aww,
So
that's
nice.
awesome.
Yeah. Amazing place.
Okay. So I'm gonna take care of selecting our like the drink, like the potion, the polyjuice potion first, before I do anything. So I'm using the magic wand tool, just kind of selecting everything. And then kind of gonna go in with this lasso tool and getting everything selected here.
Nice.
Being pretty loose about it, but I'll probably refine the selection a little bit too. Okay. Yeah, this will be fun. I'm excited because I always love, I mean, that's one of the things that we love to use, like the Photoshop timeline tool. Because it allows us to do like stop motion within Photoshop, which is great. Like stop motion, animation, that kind of thing. So, okay. So, making sure I select as much of it as possible. Okay. That's good enough. Okay. So I'm going to select and mask. I'm going to push that radius so that it like kind of knows where I want it to go. And I'm going to go over it with the Refine Edge brush tool. There you go. Okay. Cool. Okay. So I'm going to hit OK. So one of the things I also love, especially when you're doing a lot of like compositing or things like that, saving selections is the best. So I always like to do select and save selection. And basically it does exactly what it does. You can just save pretty much anything, which like is so handy when you need to go back to something to like apply a mask to, or like whatever it is. So you don't affect something, for example, you know? So in this case, I'm just gonna, it's polyjuice potion. And then I'm gonna hit OK. This is all fine, everything, how it's set up. And then that way, if I like unselect whatever, I keep going about edits, I can always go back and load selection. There it is, and it's back there.
Nice.
So, and all the settings I had applied to it too when I did the Refine Edge brush tool and all that stays the same, which is great.
Cool.
So, okay. So first, basically, we're gonna do a layer. Let's see. I'm actually gonna do a new layer. So I'm gonna do. Let me see. Basically, actually, I'm gonna do this. New fill layer, solid color. I'm gonna hide it. I'm gonna grab like the green that's in here, for example. Okay. And then let's say I want to do, let's see. Actually, I guess maybe I could also do this other way too. Okay, I'm thinking of something else, so let me do this instead. So I'm gonna play around with something. So let's do let's take a large big brush and have a new layer, and I'm just gonna do like really big, full 100% opacity kind of like colors. So I'm gonna take let's say, like, what do we want the drink to change into? Like, let's say probably like stay in the like greens, the yellows,
Maybe it
maybe
like
blue.
goes from like a yellowy green to like a brighter, poppier green, and like kind of like changing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's see. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe like kind of this bright yellow. And maybe like,
yeah, really like a potion, like that neon green. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Okay. I think that's like pretty good. And make it a little smaller. Okay. And then
nice.
It's gonna be a little intense. I think I'm gonna go with color.
Yeah.
And maybe we change the colors later. Maybe we want to decide that it'll like do something else. I think maybe something more drastic so that it's like kind of more.
Then maybe it like changes to this and then it changes like to blue, or I don't know.
Yes. Something. Yes. Okay. So basically we'll want to do. Okay. So. And then I want to apply. So I'm going to bring up the load selection to Polyjuice Potion, right? And I'm going to apply the layer mask so that it starts like, okay, so that it's just affecting that, right? So now what I want to do is I'm going to bring the window timeline, okay? So I'm going to do create a video timeline. So here is the interesting part that's always like really fun. Okay, so basically, and like I've worked with this a handful of times and it's like really fun to do, especially like when you make things like move from. So I think I might show this to you guys tomorrow as well, another way to use it. But in this case, like basically what you're doing is you're creating like the animation within the image. So in this case, like I have the colors here, right? So I'm gonna basically like move them around. Let me see. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. Hold on. Okay. Oops. Okay, yeah, okay, cool. So basically what I want to do is I'm going to start. So I have this layer, right? These are our colors, the ones that are going to be moving around. So I'm going to click on this position layer. And this little stopwatch right here is basically what's going to create the animation. So from here is where it's going to start, right? Mm-hmm. So I click that. So this is how it's starting, right? And let's say I want to, at like the, I don't know, 1 second mark or something, I'm going to Command T and I'm going to rotate it. Oh, hold on. And then this is where actually I need to make sure that I have, and I want to make sure that I'm doing this correctly. Okay. Whoops. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, cool. So basically you'll want to unlink your layer so that it's not like moving, you know. I do think I want something a little bit more drastic though, because otherwise like it doesn't look as like,
I thought you were having it like change from one color to another. So
it could do.
But I think with what you're doing, it makes sense that it's more drastic for sure.
Yes. So I think I might do kind of like maybe like yellow. So like green, yellow, and like blue or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like a
then
teal.
You'll see the movement more.
Yes. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. And I love this history tool. So great. Okay. So let's do that really big green. Okay. And then let's do that like bright yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's do like maybe a little bit more. Push it a little bit more. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, super fun. Okay, so now bring back that selection. There we go. Unlink the layers. Make sure you change the blending mode to color.
Ooh.
I know, right? That looks crazy. Okay, so then you want to create the video timeline. Open up that layer 1, and then you want to go over to position, and you start that stopwatch to kind of like, that's how you're going to start that animation, right? So then let's say at like, so it's automatically when you're on the video timeline, it's going to want to do like 5 seconds, but I'm going to just, for the sake of this, bring it down to like, I don't know, 3 seconds or something. Or maybe we want to keep it, doesn't matter. But so we'll start there. Then we go over to here, and I'm going to change the position. So in this case, I'm going to kind of go like this.
That's cool.
Change it like that. And I'm going to mark it. So this little, it's so tiny, but like there's a little diamond right there.
Yeah.
In the position. So you want to click that because that's how the animation's going to happen. So then, and you can get really specific, right? You can like kind of add more little markers to kind of make it more seamless, but this is just an example of how you could do it. So
it's
then
basically
again,
telling Photoshop, right? Like, here's where I'm starting, and then here's what I want it to do, and here's where I want that like the change to be complete, I guess, or the movement to be complete is at this next point, and then you keep repeating that.
Exactly. Let me see. Is it going to do it? Oh, wait, hold on. Maybe I didn't do it right. But yes, exactly. That's exactly what is happening. So like, essentially, you're starting there, and then let me see. Okay. There we go. And hopefully it's actually marking. Okay. Huh. For some reason it's not going the way I want it to. Let me see. Usually it's supposed to like mark exactly how it's going, but maybe. Let me see. Let me delete this real quick. Okay, so if I start here, let's say, and then I move over here. Oh, here we go. Maybe I'm supposed to do it after the fact. Let's see. Maybe not. Usually that's the thing that's supposed to be working.
Yeah, I've just done it with text, and that's what I've done.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah.
Maybe. Let's see. Layer mask position. Maybe it's meant to. Huh. Well, see, this is why you guys need to troubleshoot.
Well, maybe because you're doing it with a layer mask, you have to select that.
Maybe.
And that would make sense.
Yeah, like the layer mask position as well.
Yeah.
Maybe. Let me see. But that would not be the right thing. That. Yeah, that would not be the right thing. That's strange. Hold on, let me see. Well, it's a good thing to troubleshoot, you guys.
For sure.
Okay, let me see if maybe both of them need to be active. So if I do that. Oh no. Okay. Huh. Very strange. I definitely have done this before, but maybe.
The other way you can do it is to just make the different frames and then
That's true.
make the
That's
animation
true.
from frames. It won't like transition in that same way.
I know.
It'll be a little more choppy, but it still will work.
That's true. That's true. I think we could definitely do that. So I can definitely show you guys how that can happen. So
you have like just a couple minutes left. But we're gonna play around with this more tomorrow. So
let's definitely play around with this more tomorrow. And so I can nail it down and show you guys exactly how I do it. But typically the timeline tool is how you can kind of like adjust and transform so that you can animate something and then it like saves that like animation, which is a really awesome tool. But I don't know, something's going on. Maybe I've got Muggle, non-magic in me. Okay, cool. So I'll just show you kind of like what I could do in 5 minutes, hopefully. Okay, so let me go ahead and close this for now. So one of the other ways too that you could do, actually, so if I go like that, and let's say I do an adjustment layer. So I could go like this, like add 10, right? And then, oops. So that's like my layer 1. And then if I add another 10, right? Bring it over a little bit more. And copy paste. I can kind of like build these layers and it can start to kind of like build that color. And I can get more specific too. I can always do like increments of 5 or even less. But that's kind of like the gist. Okay. Oops. There we go. Okay.
Nice.
That's looking crazy. Okay. No, why can't I get to 50? Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's another easy way too that you can animate something as well. Okay. So something like that. So there you go. You can kind of see the colors kind of coming to life there. And you can keep like pushing it and going over so that it kind of, you can even do like a rainbow or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's like an easy animation as well. So basically at that point, then you would just, I can kind of remove these here, start from there. And then again, using my timeline tool, bringing that up. And instead I want to, let's see. I want to make sure that I'm doing those. I want to bring up my timeline. Oops, there we go. Okay, cool. So make frames from all layers is what I want to select. And then I grab it all and I want to change the seconds. So I can make it really fast. I can make it really slow. But that's pretty much how that could work. And that can be like a quick animation for your polyjuice potion or whatever you want to change colors. So some little magic for you.
Little bit of magic. Yeah. So tomorrow, Arabela is going to be working more on some of these cocktail images and showing some more tricks, tips, magic with
some more magic.
Some more magic. So definitely make sure you come back tomorrow. Same time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. And we would love to have you guys join. Feel free to ask questions, and we'll just keep learning more together, which will be awesome.
I'll make sure to nail down the timeline tool for you guys. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I want to show you guys how that works. So
definitely feel free to pop back in for that if you're curious about that. And I would love to hear if you guys have any tips for that as well. It's always fun to hear from the community. So definitely feel free to jump in for that. Tomorrow, 9:30, same time, same place. And then make sure you stick around after the stream, because we are going to have the Illustrator Creative Challenge with Tyler Pate. And then following that is going to be designing packaging for a toy company with Jacob Paris.
Ooh,
so it sounds super fun. So definitely make sure that you guys stick around for that. And we will see you guys tomorrow.
Cool. Bye.
Bye.